Soundtrack Saturday back on your ass. Yeah, so we got another movie today. We go back to the year 2000, the new millennium. Save the Last Dance. The screenplay was written by Dwayne Adler and Cheryl Edwards. Directed by Thomas Carter. This was his next movie after doing the Metro movie with Eddie Murphy years ago. So really, I feel like this kicked off a lot of those like contemporary dance movies like Step Up and all of the college dance movies. You kind of wouldn't get those if you don't get this movie. Stars Julia Stiles, Sean Patrick Thomas, a young Kerry Washington, and Fredo Starr. So the main characters is Julia Stiles, and she plays this ballet dancer, young girl whose mom passed away, and she's like very classically trained, but then she ended up moving to the hood, you know, south side of Chicago and shit. So Julia, she meets this guy. He's like this. He's just like this hip hop kid who's like he want to be a pediatrician. He's like got these big goals of going to college and shit. But you know, he's trying to help integrate his hip hop centricness into this white girl's ballet style of dancing. So it's like this interweaving of cultures of just like this classical style mixed with hip hop. It's the deeper story of an interracial relationship, and you know, just different worlds coming together is the big thing about this. It was a widely successful movie. I mean, they put 13 mil into this and ended up grossing, you know, over $130 million. The soundtrack was released under Hollywood Records.
They say the good are young, we're headed for the pearly gates. I can see through. I know you ain't really like that.
Fredo Starr, member of Onyx. If you never heard of the rap group Onyx, he's like one of the front runners. Him and Sticky Fingers, but he was in the movie himself, and they got him obviously doing a track. I mean, if you got Fredo in your movie, you might as well get him to do a track. But this one, he's paired up with Jill Scott, a young Jill Scott, who's just really blossomed into the world. And they almost don't even sound like Jill Scott. Like I don't even recognize this singer as being Jill Scott. But if you listen in, you'd be like, oh yeah, that is Jill. I like what she's doing on the hook. But this song is like weird because it's got this sad undertone to it. Like now I'm listening to it, it feels very like heavy and weight. But all he really doing is just talking about the complications of an interracial relationship. Like, oh, why is it so heavy? It don't need to be this heavy.
I wonder what was on God's mind the day that he made you. I know he wrote a new commandment after he was through. But every time I see you, I find something new. But I just gotta have you. I really want you. I just gotta have you.
This joint is so player. Of course, I remember this song, so I'm super biased. I didn't know this was on this album. I mean, on this soundtrack at all. I just kind of heard this in passing. I just remember this video coming on like MTV Jams back in the day. Lucy Pearl, you know, if you don't know who Lucy Pearl is, do your homework. I'm not about to explain it to you, but Raphael Sadiq is a part of the group. It's like one of his expansion groups. And then you got Snoop Dogg, obviously. DJ Battle Cat on here on the beat, just going crazy, bringing that West Coast wine, West Coast flavor to this joint. This feel like a West Coast barbecue, you know, at 5:30 when the sun about to go down. This joint is just all the way vibes. It's festive. It's got so much soul in it.
It was midnight at the party. As you walk in, looking nice. You have Versace all over your body, and you talk with no penny lie. When you start shaking your hips, oh yeah, all of the things that turn me on.
X2C. Never heard of this singer or group, whatever it is. Very different record here. It's almost like one of those beats where they really trying to trip you up. They're not trying to be conventional with the patterns at all. It's like an off beat, and you don't have no traction into the hook of this joint. It's got that heavy 2000 sound. like super clubby, like weird 808s on this joint to make it sound super futuristic. I think of like Osmosis Jones when I hit some shit like this. I don't really care for this type of record. It's too abstract for me, but he sound like motherfucking Casey. You know what I mean, from Casey and JoJo.
I can't think about this crazy day. Just daydreaming about you, baby. Crazy, just thinking about you lately. Just thinking about you, baby.
So after like an imitation Casey, they actually go ahead and get Casey and JoJo on this joint afterwards. I don't know if that was strategic just to tease you into it or what, but I remember this Casey and JoJo song. I forgot about this joint too because it's not one of their top hits, but it's definitely like in there. Like if they bring this out, if they was on the verses and bang this out on niggas, be like, oh shit, I forgot about that motherfucker. It was on one of their albums, and they didn't create this song specifically for this soundtrack. I ain't gonna say nothing crazy about this song because it's a solid song. It's just not my favorite one from them. And this is like a little different of a record from them too. It's slow ballad, but it's got like these rock build up undertones to it, like soft core. You get an early Pink here, and this was a little more saucier for Pink because Pink was in her like Toni Braxton bag a little bit, you know, singing in those deeper tones a little bit. I could tell she really did look up to a Toni Braxton because she was doing these type of records. She wasn't doing like quote unquote white girl records, and a lot of them white young girls was doing that. They was like mixing hip hop into their shit, and I mean that's what this whole soundtrack is about. So it makes sense to get Pink involved. Not my favorite Pink song, but it's saucy for her, you know what And then they go and get a record like this on there. Monumental record. This is what you call a classic. You know what I mean? Stand the test of time. Any era, the kid's gonna be like, oh, this shit is dope. Like it don't even matter where you put this on. Cause this is like this could have lasted, this could have went off in the disco back in the 80s, and it can go like in any little function now. Donell Jones. This is Gemini Nation too. And on the soundtrack, they don't have the Left Eye version, but you know, Left Eye hopped on it and elevated that motherfucker. This is like this is a perfect song. It just got the feels, it's vibe, it's R&B. There's nothing to say wrong about this song. Kevon Edmonds. If you don't know who that is, he's Babyface's little brother. And this fucking family is just fucking talented. And he's also a member of the After Seven group. Just, I mean, all around dogs in there. Kevon had a fucking album that was dope too. And I only listened to one. I gotta get in my bag. That's why I'm gonna start an R&B one. I'm gonna start an R&B show because I gotta get in my R&B bag. They know how to put points on the motherfucking board. And they gonna steal your girl. and they gonna steal your girl's mama and grandmama and your girl's baby soon to come.
Murder she wrote, murder she wrote, murder she wrote, murder she wrote. I pretty some bad character, then the kind of living can hold chapter from it. I pretty some bad character, then the kind of living can hold chapter. Say girl you pretty, you face it pretty, but your character dirty. Girl you just a act too flirty, you run to jump it, and also hurry. And when you find your mistake, you talk about your sorry.
Kingston stand up. Brah, 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 brah. Shaka Demons and Pliers, classic group. They've showed up on this show before, and all they do is these type of records. This is so classic. Like every DJ in America and abroad, not just America, they know this song. This is a moment in time. This was not made for this album, but you know they plucked it and put it on this soundtrack and sold it in America. So every Jamaican party I've ever been to, and I've been to a lot, plays this song, and almost every little American joint nowadays. When I got older, they definitely play this joint. I hear it at the clubs.
Time if you're pushing the still. Let me do some things around because the lyrics is ill. Abstract, you know my sticky D in here. Niggas get on and swear it's they fucking hit. But yo, your girl just moved. Put the joint in the club in the car for crew. Bruh, look, the movement is on. Mailman and mommies and Victoria dolls. I get my vibe on dust. Guaranteed to make it right if the night is a bust. You vibrate and you fresh and all. Original. Say the least and you impress them all. Come on. Rappers start that they stole.
This is when Q-Tip was playing with the world, just testing the palette. This is a hit, and he knew it was gonna be a hit. Whether you know or like Q-Tip, 1999, late 1999, early 2000, when this record came out, it was running the radio, off of some tempo shit, off of vibration shit. He just knew what he was doing, and he produced this shit. Like this whole album that this was on, was amazing. From Tribe to his solo efforts, they all work.
You can do it, put your back into it. I can do it, put your ass into it. You can do it, put your back into it. I can do it, put your ass into it. Put your back into it. Put your ass into it. Jimmy banging down these back streets, loving black streets, treated like an athlete, like in a track team. It's a marathon, fuck the cemetery that a nigga gets buried on. We be coming to the day we die. Nigga at the block, nigga in the think we lie. But if you think we hot, nigga think again, cause when it's sink or swim, you got to think to win.
This album just became a fucking great DJ set. That's pretty much what they sold this soundtrack as. Then you bring Cube in, fucking Cube Vision, one of the hardest to do it since Ice-T. Cube will always be that nigga, man. The influence that Cube had on this game, so unique. And then he hit you with bangers, bro. He don't be playing with you. Like he come in, every album he gonna give you a banger. You got Mac 10 joining him. Shout out to Mac 10. And everybody just showed up. Everybody did their thing on here. This is like club banger. This is West Coast. But East Coast had to respect it just because that motherfucker rang off.
Shots fired on 17 notes. Somehow it is surprising. I'm picking the ways when now that I can change my environment. And I work 2 jobs every day. It seems like the struggle just ain't worth my pay. So on to the next little hustle. Maintain my name clean for my peeps, they are trouble.
Fella named Soul Bone. Definitely never heard of him. It's one of those who was like super up and coming. And they squeezed him in between all of these fucking hits. And I see why, actually. He's very talented. His voice is like, I can't compare him to Lyfe Jennings, but that's the closest as the content I can compare him to, because you could tell he seemed like a nigga just off the streets that you saw just singing, and they gave him like a shot on the record, you know, because he definitely got that soulful voice. He's not like anybody else. He's very unique in like his rhythm of how he sings. So I would love to hear what happened to Soul Bone. God damn it. What happened to Soul Bone? Because this is some real like Anthony Hamilton ass shit.
I thought I told you that we won't stop. I thought I told you that we won't stop. I thought I told you that we won't stop. I thought I told you that we won't stop. I thought I told you that we won't stop.
Jesus, the notorious
just please us with your lyrical thesis. We just chillin', milk 'em, top billin', silkin', pure linen, me and little C's.
They going for keeps now. Like, you put a song like this, and I can't even really critique this. I mean, you got the Notorious B.I.G. and 112, which is the match made in heaven that Puff, the fucking super producer genius, saw happening and just put them in rooms together and let them do what they fucking do, and he do what he do, and then they come out with this type of shit. Tempo music, this like is real soundtrack music. I mean, soundtrack to life. So like for them to put this on this soundtrack, which was not made for this soundtrack, I must reiterate every time, they definitely just lent it to it. And Diddy is a super businessman, so for him to choose to put this record on here tells you how big this movie was. These are records that was just made in that year. So these was like the hottest shits, out. Montel Jordan. And the thing is, Montel Jordan already had a mega hit before this in the 90s. So him coming out in 2000s with this, he came and grabbed me off the bench. Like, I wasn't even paying attention. I wasn't old enough to jam off his first hit. He came and got me with this one. And I was like, had to do my homework on Montel Jordan. And then once you do your homework on Montel Jordan, you realize that you've been fucking up the whole time. Shout out to Montel. He do like gospel music now, and I got a listen to that. I'm sure his gospel shit go off too.
For you to quit, you gotta show me how bad you really want it. No, to get free. You must leave. You have to leave yourself. It's all or nothing.
Athena Cage out of Kentucky. I do remember this song because it was like, it's got the perfect hip hop and like classical fusion to it. So they use it as the theme of this movie. This is actually a big record for the movie. You hear it throughout the movie. So it kind of influenced you in that way if you watched it. Yeah, I slept on this completely. This is probably the best soundtrack that I've covered this whole fucking time I've been doing this. And that's no exaggeration. I think anybody with ears can listen to it and tell they put the bucks down to make this a soundtrack worth buying. It's too much hits on it. This is like a DJ set list through 2000 of just the dopest shit of R&B essence. I feel like this soundtrack is way doper than the movie, and the movie is dope. Like, the movie, if you look at it now, and I haven't in a while, but it's got cheesy moments in it, but it is a solid film. Like, you understand the message when you look at it. Didn't think this was gonna be that good, y'all. I ain't even gonna front, but it was like the best. So, there it is, Soundtrack Saturday. You know what I mean? I'll holla at y'all on the next flip, on the next tip.